Jai Hind students, welcome to my YouTube channel. Students, observation is a passive science, while on the other hand, experimentation is an active science. So, life is an experiment in which you may fail or succeed, explore more, and expect least. With that positive note, students, let's begin today's session. Today, we are going to discuss the experiment involving the experimental verification of Ohm's law. That too by plotting graph between potential difference and current. And students, in the process, we'll also try to determine the resistance per centimeter of a given standard resistance wire. So students, in order to perform this experiment, we'll be requiring a given standard wire of unknown resistance, an ammeter, a voltmeter, a battery which is a source, a rheostat which is a variable resistor, one-way key and connecting wires. And students, in some cases, we have got Ohm's law apparatus where all these components are inbuilt and they are internally connected. So we need to simply give the external connections or we need to provide the supply to that particular apparatus. So before we proceed further, let's discuss the description of Ohm's law apparatus. Ohm's law is the most fundamental law of electricity given by George Simon Ohm in 1828. Here, by using this apparatus, which is the Ohm's law apparatus, we will find the values of voltage V for different values of the current I. Then we are supposed to plot a graph between the voltage and the current. This graph would be a straight line which will indicate that the current flowing through a conductor is directly proportional to the potential difference provided the physical conditions like temperature, pressure remains constant. Let us now discuss the important components of this apparatus. It is a key used to make and break an electric circuit whenever required. It is just a switch in an electric circuit. A source or a battery is to be connected to this apparatus such that its positive terminal is connected to the positive terminal, which is represented by the red color, and the negative terminal of the external source is connected to the negative terminal, which is represented by black color. This is a rheostat, which is an arrangement to regulate the current. With it, even a very small variation in the current can be brought about. And this is a knob which can be rotated in the clockwise or anti-clockwise so as to vary the value of the resistance. This is an ammeter. Actually, it is a milliammeter. It is used to measure the current in this circuit. It is a low resistance device and is always connected in series. This is a resistance wire made up of constantan or manganese, the value of which can be easily determined using this apparatus. The standard resistance wire must possess the property of low temperature coefficient and high resistivity. This is a voltmeter which is used to measure the potential difference. It is always connected in parallel. Its positive terminal is connected to the positive terminal of the battery and negative terminal of the voltmeter is connected to the negative terminal of the battery. Point to be noted is that an ammeter, which is a low resistance device, is always connected in series, while voltmeter has a very high resistance. So it draws very little current and is always connected in parallel with the points across which the potential difference is to be measured. This is a battery eliminator, which is actually a rectifier. This is an on-off switch. It has got two terminals. The red one, it indicates the positive terminal, while the black one, it indicates the negative terminal. And it has a range of 0 to 4, 6 to 12 volts. And this is the LED. On supplying this eliminator to the AC mains, this LED will glow. A battery eliminator basically converts AC into DC. So in this apparatus, instead of using battery, we make use of AC mains so as to use battery eliminator in converting AC into DC. Students, we are already aware of the statement of Ohm's law. Now, physical conditions like temperature, pressure, etc. remaining constant, the current flowing through a conductor is directly proportional to the potential difference applied across the ends of the conductor. So, mathematically, as per Ohm's law, V, that is the potential difference, is directly proportional to the current. Now students, in order to eliminate this proportionality sign, we need to introduce some constant. So here the constant is R, which is the resistance offered by the conductor. R is the resistance offered by the conductor. That is, resistance is V by I, right? And here students, as I've told you, this constant of proportionality R, it is known as the electrical resistance. The value of this resistance depends on the nature of material of the conductor and its dimensions and the physical conditions obviously. And it is, however, independent of the value of V and I, right? I repeat, it is independent of the value of V and I. That is what we are going to prove. So for that, we find the values of voltage for different values of current I. And then we will plot a graph between V and I, which would be a straight line indicating that resistance is constant. It is independent of the applied voltage and the current. Now let's discuss the circuit diagram and let's draw the circuit and make the connections accordingly. This is a circuit diagram so as to experimentally verify Ohm's law, right? This is an ammeter which is always to be connected in series, right? So this is the source. It's a combination of cells, which is a battery. In our case, we'll be making use of a battery eliminator, right? Which will convert AC into DC. So this is a source. This is the positive terminal. Current always flows from positive terminal, that is higher potential, to the negative terminal, that is the lower potential. So this is the current I. And as I've told you, this is ammeter, which is to be connected in series, means positive. So this should be the positive terminal, the other one should be the negative terminal. This is the voltmeter, which is used to measure potential difference, and it is to be connected in parallel across the conductor across which the potential difference is to be measured, right? So it has to be connected in parallel. So with respect to the source, this is the positive terminal. So this must be the positive terminal of the voltmeter, and this must be the negative terminal of the voltmeter, right? And this is one-way key which is closed. This is a rheostat. It is a variable register so as to note down the different values of voltage corresponding to the different values of current. So it basically changes the value of resistance in the circuit, right? So it's known as rheostat. And students, this is the resistance wire. It is the standard resistance wire which will be given to us and whose resistance can be easily determined by using Ohm's law, right? And the length of this wire is, suppose, L. This is the length of the wire. So if we want to determine the resistance per centimeter of a given wire, so in that case what we do is we will first find out the value of R. The value of this resistance can be easily determined, that we will discuss, and by measuring the length of this given wire we can find R by L. If L is in centimeter, then resistance per unit length of the wire would be in ohm per centimeter, right? So L represents the length of the resistance wire through which this current I is flowing. Clear, students? So point to be noted is that ammeter, it is to be connected in series. Voltmeter, it is to be always connected in parallel. And this standard resistance wire, students, it's very important. It possesses two properties, namely it should have very high value of resistivity and it should have low temperature coefficient, right? Low temperature coefficient means even with the variation in the temperature, the variation in the resistance is negligible. So it should have high resistivity and low temperature coefficient. For that we make use of either a standard resistance wire made up of constantan or manganese, which is also known as Eureka. Here I must mention constantan. It is also known as Eureka. It is actually an alloy of copper and nickel. While students, manganene, it is again an alloy made up of copper, manganese and nickel. So these two are used as standard resistance wire. So the wire which will be given to you would be made up of either constantan or manganene. Students, in the Ohm's law apparatus, we need to rotate the level of the rheostat either clockwise or anti-clockwise in steps and note down the ammeter reading and the corresponding voltmeter reading every time. So let's take about 4-5 observations. Let us note down the least count and the zero error, if any, of the voltmeter and the milliammeter. Now students, since the needle in both the cases coincides with zero, therefore these two instruments do not suffer from any zero error. Now, least count of an instrument is the minimum measurement which an instrument can measure most accurately. In the case of voltmeter, 10 equal division constitutes 1 volt. Therefore, 1 division would be equal to 0.1 volt, which will be the least count of the voltmeter. While on the other hand, in the case of milliammeter, 10 equal divisions constitutes 100 milliampere. And thus, 1 division would be equal to 10 milliampere. So the least count of the ammeter is 10 milliampere. Now let us note down the values of potential difference V and the current I from the voltmeter and the ammeter respectively. Initially, when V equals to 0, then current is also 0. Now on increasing the current step by step by moving the sliding contact of the rheostat or by rotating the knob of the resistor, then we need to take at least 4-5 more sets of readings of the voltmeter and the ammeter. Here in this case, corresponding to 0.1 volt, the corresponding current in the ammeter is 100 milliampere, which is 0.1 ampere. Now in this case, corresponding to 0.2 volt, the pointer in the ammeter points towards 200 milliampere, which is equal to 0.2 ampere. On further varying the resistance in the circuit, now corresponding to 0.3 volt, the ammeter reading is 300 milliampere, which is equivalent to 0.3 ampere. In the next observation, corresponding to a voltage of 0.4 volt, the current in the ammeter shows a reading of 400 milliampere, which is 0.4 ampere. And finally, corresponding to a voltage of 0.5 volt, we get an ammeter reading of 500 milliampere, which is equivalent to 0.5 ampere. This is the observation table. Here I have noted down the values of the voltages corresponding to different values of current, right? And here I would like to mention that in the apparatus, it was milliammeter. So the reading was in milliampere. But here I have converted it in amperes so as to obtain the value of resistance in ohm. So actually it was 100 milliampere, right? Corresponding to 0.1 volt, the reading was 100 milliampere, which is equivalent to 0.1 ampere. So here the values of current in this column has been written in ampere. It was 200 milliampere, so in ampere it would be 0.2 ampere. Similarly, here the reading was 300 milliampere, which in ampere would be 0.3 ampere, and so on, right? Now let's find out the value of resistances. So we are supposed to make use of this formula. V is in volts, I is in ampere. So resistance would be in ohm. So let's get the value of R1. It is V by I. So it is V1 by I1. So it is equal to V1 is 0.1 divided by I1 is 0.1. So it would be equal to 1 ohm, right? R2. So here this is V2, this is I2. So V2 by I2, so it will give us 0.2 divided by 0.2. So that will give us 1 ohm. So more or less the values of R1, R2, R3, R4, they should be same. So R3, it is equal to V3 by I3. So it is 0.3, V3 is 0.3, I3 is 0.3. So it will be 1 ohm. And this is actually the resistance of the standard resistance wire which is given. R4, it will be equal to V4 divided by I4, which in this case is 0.4 divided by 0.4. So again it is 1 ohm. And R5, it is V5 divided by I5. So V5 is 0.5 volt and I5 is 0.5 ampere. So it comes out to be again 1 ohm, right? Now, in this case, all the values are exactly same. So obviously the mean value of resistance of the given wire would be 1 ohm. But in case these values vary slightly, then it is preferable to take the mean value of these observed values. So that would be R, it would be equal to R1 plus R2 plus R3 plus R4 plus R5. That is, arithmetic mean is sum of all the observations divided by total number of observations. So obviously here in this case we'll get 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, that is 5 by 5. So here obviously we'll get the value of resistance of the given wire to be 1 ohm, right? So R has been measured mathematically. Students, I must mention that the voltmeter and the ammeter used should be of proper ranges, right? And the zero corrections, if any, it should be applied to the readings of both voltmeter as well as ammeter. Here in our case, as we have discussed in the video, that there is no zero error, right? So no zero corrections is required to be applied. So here the observed reading of the current is equal to the corrected reading of the current, right? Similarly, the observed reading of the voltmeter is equal to the corrected voltmeter reading. So here I have not applied any zero corrections as it was not required in this case. Friends, while performing this experiment and drawing the circuit diagram, it must be noted that the positive terminals of the voltmeter and ammeter should be connected to the positive terminal of the battery, right? And now let's discuss some of the questions which might be asked during the experiment. These are the questions which an external or an internal examiner might ask you if you are given to perform this particular experiment. Like statement of Ohm's law, you must be all aware of it. Then why an ammeter must have low resistance? It is because it is always used in series in circuit and it must not reduce current in it. So that is the reason why ammeter is a low resistance device, right? Because it's always connected in series so that it must not reduce current in it. Similarly, another question is why a voltmeter must have high resistance? Now students, you are aware voltmeter is always connected in parallel with the circuit, right? So if it possesses high resistance, then it will draw a very small or negligible current from it. So that's the reason why it should possess very high resistance. An ideal voltmeter possesses infinite resistance, while an ideal ammeter, it possesses zero resistance. Then there's a very important question which we have discussed already. What are the properties that are associated with standard resistance wire? Students, Constantan, that is Eureka, or Manganin, they are used as standard resistance wire and they possess properties of high resistivity, high specific resistance and low temperature coefficient. Then you should be aware of defining resistance theoretically as well as quantitatively. It's the hindrance or the obstruction or the opposition offered by the ions of the conductor towards the movement of electrons, right? Then factors on which the resistance depends. It depends upon the dimensions of the conductor. It depends upon nature of material of the conductor. It also depends upon the physical conditions. But remember students, resistance of an ohmic conductor does not depend upon the values of voltage and current. For different values of voltage and current, the resistance is found to be same. So, resistance of a conductor is independent of the voltage and the current, right? So, when the current increases, the potential difference across the section of the conductor also increases, so that the ratio V by I always remains constant. Now, regarding conventional current, students, the current that flows from the positive terminal of the cell or the battery to its negative terminal in the external circuit, that is known as conventional current. Let us plot graph between the voltage and the current. These are the readings which we have taken, and let us represent current along the x-axis and the voltage which is measured in volts along the y-axis. And this is the scale which we are using. On x-axis, students, this is 1 centimeter, right? And 1 centimeter represents 0.1 ampere. While this is the y-axis, on the y-axis again this is 1 centimeter, right? This is 1 centimeter, and 1 centimeter represents 0.1 volt. So while plotting a graph, the scale is to be mandatorily written, right? Now let's plot this graph. Now let's locate this position. First one is 0, 0. So this is the point 0, 0. Second is 0.1, 0.1. Current is 0.1. This is current, 0.1. And voltage is 0.1. So this is 0.1, this is 0.1. So this is the point. So let me write down the ordinate and the abscissa. It is 0.1, 0.1. Right? Next is 0.2, 0.2. This is 0.2 along the x-axis. Along the y-axis, which represents voltage, again it's 0.2. So this is the point. So it is 0.2, 0.2. Then third one is 0.3, then 0.3. This is the point. Okay, next reading is 0.4, 0.4. 0.4, it's the current. 0.4 is the voltage across it. So 0.4, 0.4. And the last reading is corresponding to a current of 0.5 ampere flowing through the conductor. A potential drop of 0.5 volt takes place. So corresponding to a current of 0.5 ampere, voltage is 0.5 volt. So it will be over here. 0.5, 0.5. Now students, if you connect these points, it will be a straight line passing through the origin and equally inclined. So this is it. So this graph clearly suggests that these two are linearly dependent. Voltage and current are linearly dependent, right? So V is proportional to current. This is what we have proved graphically. So the nature of the graph obtained between the current and the voltage is a straight line equally inclined passing through the origin. It clearly indicates that the current flowing through a conductor is directly proportional to the potential difference applied across its ends, which is the statement of Ohm's law. So it clearly indicates that the constant of proportionality, which is R over here, right? So it is constant. So it is independent of the current and the voltage. So R is the constant, which we have proved over here, right? The value of this constant R, it can be also determined with the help of this graph. Now y-axis represents the voltage, x-axis represents the current. Therefore, the slope of the graph is y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. Suppose you can consider any 2 points, right? Any 2 points can be considered. Suppose we consider this to be point A and this to be point B, right? This is I1, V1, and this is suppose I2, V2. Now slope is y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. So it would give us v2 minus v1 divided by I2 minus I1, which is the resistance. So the slope of the graph will give us resistance. So R, which is the resistance, it is equal to V2 minus V1. V2 is 0.5 minus V1 is 0.2 divided by I2 minus I1. I2 is 0.5 minus I1 is 0.2. So it is 0.3 divided by 0.3. So it comes out to be 1 ohm. Right? So this is the value of resistance. You can consider any 2 points. Slope of a straight line is always constant. So it is immaterial whether you consider these 2 points or these 2 points or these 2 points. You will get the same value of the slope. So the slope of the graph, in case you represent voltage along the y-axis and current along the x-axis, then its slope will give us resistance. Right? So this will give us the resistance. And obviously voltage V is measured in volts, the current is measured in ampere, then the resistance would be in ohm. Let us consider this to be the 2 terminals, and this is the standard resistance wire which is connected between these 2 terminals. Now when the current flows, then it will be like this, right? Like this. It will flow through this section of the given standard resistance wire. Through this section, the current won't flow. So what I mean to say is that while calculating the length of the given resistance wire, you are supposed to find out or read the length of the wire from this end to this end. And you are supposed to avoid this section because no current is flowing through this section of the given standard resistance wire. So this will be the length, which can be easily obtained using a scale or a ruler, right? This is the standard resistance wire which is given. It is the standard resistance wire. So this length can be easily found. Again, I am telling the students, this is the effective length of the given wire. This section is to be avoided because current will flow only through this section of the given resistance wire, right? Suppose the length of the given wire is found to be 5 centimeter. It can be easily measured with the help of a scale or a ruler, right? Therefore, the resistance per centimeter of the wire would be per centimeter of the given standard resistance wire, it would be equal to R by L. R is determined to be 1 both graphically as well as mathematically, right? It is 1 ohm, and length of the effective length of the given wire is suppose 5 centimeter. So the answer would be 0.2 ohm per centimeter. So that's the result, students. So students, I sincerely hope that you have understood this experiment. It's a very, very simple and basic one. So do practice this experiment in your respective physics labs and keep watching my videos, right? Keep watching my videos and always stay healthy, stay fit and keep smiling. Thank you, students.